Hey folks, how you doing? Back again. More to talk about. This time, well, we can involve some of Christianity uh, and the ancient mythology, and we can sort of get an idea of where some of the works in the Bible come from, or the mythology. I've been trying to make that clear for some time. But we'll get into it. We'll talk about uh, the ark to build and the covenant to keep. Okay, well, we've all heard that expression, I believe. But we'll get into this ark business, of course, first, and we'll start off in ancient Africa, way back, Central Africa, Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania. Uh, we'll we'll start by saying that, well, the folks there knew that entering the water could be very, very dangerous. You had the hippo, you had the crocodile, you had the giant serpents. They could devour a human being. And the human being knew that the water was dangerous, you see. And if you go to the edge of the water to get water, go to the edge of the river to get water, you better be very careful. You don't want to fall in. So you don't want to sink below the water. You don't want to go in the water unless you have a boat. Okay? Which we'll refer to as the ark. Okay? The ark is a boat, like Noah's Ark. Big boat where it took him across the water. He didn't want to sink under the water. He wanted to go across the water. Sinking under the water is dangerous. Okay? It's even referred to as the underworld, where monsters lurk in the deep. Yeah. Well, this is where this idea come from. The monsters of the deep lurking in the underworld. The water principle. See, wherein fiendish things occur. So the folks realized in Africa that the water was dangerous. Now, I've said often that that mythology, is based on ancient African sociology. Okay, so when they say, well, the water's terrible, it's bad, you go in the water, you might not ever come out. It is like death to enter the water. This, in later years, came on in the Egyptian mythology. Ancient African sociology gives rise to the ancient Egyptian mythology because the folks migrated over the years from Central Africa, South Africa, this part of Africa, that part of Africa. A lot of them ended up in ancient Egypt, and they brought with them their mythology. They brought with them their stories, their tales, their religious systems, their spiritual systems, the artifacts and whatnot. They brought all these with them, the tales and all the tradition that was handed down to them. So all these people merge on ancient Egypt, and the priests there gathered their stories together and made the mythology out of it. That's how the mythology originated, and that's how it got transported to ancient Egypt, where everything was put together and recorded and put together. Everything the folks said, it was recorded by the priest, put together, and eventually disseminated throughout the world. And this is what religion is based on, all of them. Okay? So now we're talking about the ark. Okay? And it may come to us in a few different forms, you know what I mean? For example, when Jesus walked the waters, he didn't want to sink. When Jesus walked the waters, he was demonstrating. He was symbolizing the ark, the boat that stays above the water. Well, this concept came from Central Africa. But anyway, Jesus walked the waters, didn't want to sink in the waters, and this is demonstrating that we want to stay above the waters on dry land. It is safer there, and this is where your development, your spiritual development, will take place, rising up out of the waters onto dry land, or dry land you can equate with heaven. So we raise the soul up out of the waters to safety. So Noah, he crossed the waters in his ark, which is a boat, and he sailed, and then he sent the birds out. Well, the bird, eventually came back with a dry twig. It tells us that, hey, there's dry land over there. And that's what we're after, dry land. And that's what the twig represents. The twig represents dry land, and out of the waters, we can equate that with heaven. Out of the underworld and into heaven, the dry land, you see. So Jesus walked the waters, demonstrating that one must remain above the water, the underworld. It is death down there. That it had been established by the ancient Africans a million years before the Jesus came about. Before religion had advanced to the Christ form, Christianity. These things have been known mythologically for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years. Okay. So now we also have Job in the delivered to dry land by the whale. Yeah, the whale swallowed him up and took him, let him off of dry land. He remained above the water. You see. And so it tells us that we humans must raise our soul up out of the waters. We must develop our soul. You see. This is what it's telling us. And so we see that Jesus said to his disciples, let's go fishing. Well, he wasn't talking about ordinary fish. He was talking about the souls of the human who had sank under the waters. Fish swim underwater. So he said, let's go fishing. In other words, get the souls of these humans up out of the water, to raise them up. Develop their soul, raise them up to heaven. You see. And this is another aspect of the scriptures telling us that the waters are dangerous. And we want out of the waters and on dry land. Okay. So now we can come to the covenant. So we see the ark. The ark is important. It's a boat. In other words, symbolizing staying above the water. That's what the ark does. But we need to know how to build the ark for our own souls, for our own salvation. So we make a covenant, an agreement, a contract, etc., with the God within us, each individual. This God within us is the true self. It's the real deal, the real thing, the true self, the God within. So we make a covenant, okay, to stay with the God that to stay above the waters. In other words, what we must do is keep the water away from the God within. You see. And to do this requires us to do certain things within us that keep us down, okay, we have to eradicate. We have to get rid of them. And this comes to actually a lot of the values that people live by need to be eradicated. And when we eradicate these values, it gives breathing space to the God within, who happens to be him come down to just a spark, because he is overwhelmed by the personality. A lot of values that are detrimental to us and the survival of the God within. So we have to get rid of them. This is building an ark, because when we eradicate those personality values or traits, okay, it gives breathing space, hence above the water, to the God within. So we make an agreement to keep the God within, hence the covenant, above the water. Keep the God within us above the water. Or to keep the true self above the water. Or to keep our soul above the water. Or you can put them all together. They mean the same thing in this context. So people talk about saving the soul. Yeah, you keep the soul above the water. Keep the soul on dry land. Send the soul up to heaven, where it is sweet and dry. Okay, folks. I hope I shed a little light on that. I understand about this water principle, or the ark and the covenant. Yeah, the covenant we make is we make it with the God within us. Okay. Have a nice day and enjoy yourselves. Have a good one.